Joining me tonight, Erik Prince. He's the Executive Director, Deputy Chairman of Frontier Services Group, also a retired Navy SEAL officer, also the founder of the global private security company, Blackwater. And Erik, it's great to have you with us. I want to begin, if we may, with first the reports that we are watching the withdrawal of at least some of our forces in Syria. And your reaction and your thoughts about the president's decision to withdraw those troops.
Look, I think it's totally appropriate that the president made good on his campaign promise to try to end these forever wars. The United States doesn't have a long-term strategic obligation to stay in Syria, but I also think it's not a good idea to abandon our allies and the Kurds and the Syrian Democratic Forces that are there without U.S. forces providing them a little top cover will be smashed by the Iranians and the Syrians. So I think it's a perfect an analogy, really, to 1940, where Japan had invaded China, were bombing the heck out of their cities, and the United States wanted to help them, but couldn't have U.S. ground troops involved, so they allowed the Flying Tigers to form, which was a private organization, a private company. Army, Air Force, Marine pilots took leave of their service, went to work for the private company, and defended China against Japanese aggression. The Syrian Democratic Forces.
Do you think that's the analog in Syria then? Effectively a private force there to protect the Kurds primarily?
If there is not some kind of robust capability to defend from a ground invasion from the very conventional power that the Iranians and the Syrians have, our allies there will be smashed. The president is right to announce a pullout. We shouldn't have to stay there forever, but I don't think we should leave those allies hanging because they were very key to our success in defeating ISIS.
And your thoughts about then the alternative?
The alternative, leaving troops there forever, again, that's not, the United States does not have to be the world's policeman. Right. American history is filled with public and private partnerships of places that the private sector can fill those gaps where a very expensive military probably shouldn't be.
The president talks about the trillions of dollars that we have spent in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and he's exactly right. It's incredible to think of the money that was wasted, the lives that were lost in those enterprises. And now in Afghanistan, we are basically returning to the past. We are into negotiations now with an enemy that we had vanquished 16 years ago, absolutely, in Afghanistan.
That's right. In the first few months after 9/11, the Taliban were smashed because we fought them with an unconventional manner. When the big Pentagon moved in with a very conventional approach and basically repeated the Soviet battle plan, we've gone backwards ever since. Look, we've spent $7 trillion in defense spending in the global war on terror. Yeah. It's way too much money, and that approach in Afghanistan is not working. It's another place that a rationalization could be done, but so far the president's advisors are giving him bad advice because they keep saying, well, it's only more money and more troops is the only answer. And I really hope the White House staff and the Pentagon opens their eyes because there are better ways to do this.
And Secretary of State Pompeo in Cairo rolling back the apologia of the former President Barack Obama, the speech that he gave in Cairo from the very outset of his presidency. Do you think it was effective, and do you think it augurs well for the United States' new approach in the Middle East?
Look, you definitely have to set the policy and lay down a marker, but that's also backed up with actual muscle and grit. The Iranians are very deliberate. That's a society that put 1,000 stitches in a Persian rug in 1 square inch. They are very methodical. They are very good at playing a long game of chess. And so far, they've been winning. They've been advancing. And so fighting them in combating them in an unconventional way. Look, the United States in the 1980s took on the Soviet Union. And in 10 years of good covert action, from the time Reagan took over with a real CIA director like Bill Casey, they rolled communism back. Taking on the Iranians and defeating Islamic Jihad is not this difficult if we go about it in a very serious and direct manner.
And I think of one other statistic to go with the stitches in that Persian rug, and that is that the Iranians were responsible for an estimated 1/3 of our casualties in Iraq. Erik Prince, great to have you with us. We appreciate it and look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.
Have a good weekend.
You too.